first question, Matt. Michael, you were here first. There you go.
I've got one very important question. Uzi, if/when you win, how do you drink out of a shield?
Water you're talking about?
Yeah. Beers.
Well, I won't be drinking any beers, so I'm not sure how you do that, but I'm sure the other boys can talk you through it a bit better than me. Look, it's a long time until then. There's a lot of hard work to be done, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. There's a lot of hard work to be done. So fingers crossed, we'll have that opportunity, and you can ask one of the boys then. But until then, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
How big's home ground advantage?
Probably bigger in recent years gone past than this year. One, because we don't really play at AB Field as much. Gabba, probably a bit more of an advantage. And now the bonus point system, the way it is, changed. I'm not a big proponent of it because I think the advantage is gone for the team that comes first. You work hard all year to come first. There should be a slightly more advantage, and a team who wins, gets more bonus points in the first innings potentially can win the game, which is a bit silly in my books. But I do think this is going to be a result game. 5 days, I think there's going to be a result. So I said that to our guys either. I don't think it's a big issue because I think there'll be a winner in this game.
How do you then combat that? Like, what's the mindset on that first 100 overs? Does that change?
In my opinion, no, because to win the game, you've got to bat well and bowl well in the first 100 overs either way, or your first innings. As I said, I think there'll be a result. So if you just look for the first innings and you do win that, you can still lose the game. It's 5-day cricket, it's not 4-day cricket. So, it's very hard always to have a draw 4-day cricket. I mean, you can make really, really flat wickets out at AB Field, but I don't think that's one of them. So I think there'll be a result. So I think you just sort of do the processes and try to win the game first and foremost and not really worry about all the other stuff.
With the fact that it's 5 days, I know you've always been a big fan of sweeps, and like the last couple of seasons you've really been enjoying watching him bowl. Do you think he might come into his own there, given you've got a bit of extra time up your sleeve to employ a spinner?
Yeah, look, I think he's been bowling beautifully all year. Every time he plays, he gets wickets. As a leg spinner, it's the hardest probably thing to do for a leg spinner is bowl well to a left-hander. And he's been making left-handers look silly all season. So credit to him. He's been bowling beautifully. He was bowling beautifully last year too, but it just made it hard with all the juke balls to give him overs. So I think it's a really good initiative by Cricket Australia to scrap the juke balls and bring the kookaburras back in, and we've got spinners back in the game, and they have a very good spinner too in Nathan Lyon. So it could be the battle of the spinners, who knows?
Is that part of a big focus of your captaincy to make sure he was getting a chance to show how good he was over the last couple of years? Because like you said, it's hard to give opportunity sometimes.
I think it was a line in the sand last year. I remember talking to Chuck Wade Second, my coach, about it. We were at the Gabba and we were umming-ahhing whether to play Schwepson. It was probably third game. And I just gave him the notion. I said, look, Australia has Nathan Lyon. They're playing at the Gabba. And he said, yes. And I think at that point I said, well, then we have to play Schwepper every single game. If they're playing the best spinner, why aren't we playing our best spinner? And I think that was probably the line in the sand. And he was like, yeah, right. And since then, we've always picked him. It's not really a matter of conditions for us anymore because we know we can bowl in every single condition. And if you're bowling well at the Gabba, you can bowl well anywhere in the world.
And does that help having, say, Jack Wildermuth as your all-round option then? Does that balance the team really nicely, letting you play the spinner?
I think Schwepper's in the team no matter what now. I think that was the issue before. We were a bit worried about the balance of the team when Jack wasn't there. But Jack wasn't there last game and Schwepper is still always there. So I think all that stuff is history now for us.
On that front with Schwepper, I think Joe Burns said yesterday that the small boundaries here might be an advantage when it comes to playing Nathan Lyon. Is that, I guess, the same, the flip side of that go, but it might be a little bit harder for Mitch in this case?
Yes and no. He's bowled really well out here. I think the wicket dictates that more than anything. If the wicket has a bit more spin in it, it's obviously a bit easier for spinners to miss, have a bigger margin for error. If it's skidding on flatter, then it makes it a bit tougher. But I've seen spinners bowl well here before. So I don't think, you can score a bit faster here, but it's the same for both teams. So I think it balances out.
How about Marnus, mate? He's made centuries in both games against New South Wales this year. How important is he to your chances this week?
Yeah, very important. I think a whole batting lineup, against a very strong New South Wales team. It's very important, that first innings, both with the bat and ball. Marnus has been batting beautifully all year. He's been batting beautifully for a couple of years now. He's very competitive. He's obviously playing this game. I think a couple of weeks' time he's going back to Glamorgan to play too. So hopefully he can keep the ball rolling. You never want to waste good form. He's had it for a long time, and I know he'll be competitive enough to try to get an 100 this game.
I imagine everyone's kind of looking forward to the end of the season, but is he kind of one who doesn't want the season to end?
Look, I wouldn't say we're looking forward to the end of the season. I think we're more looking forward, it's a Shield final and you don't get a lot of them, so looking forward to win, hopefully winning. But look, I think at the end of the day, it's been amazing what we, as a cricket organisation have been able to do this year. There's a lot of hard work to be done at the start of the year. We weren't sure if we were going to play, honestly. You look back on it and you think, wow, we've done really well to play 8 Shield games, 5 one-dayers, the whole BBL. We had a hub at the start of the year in Adelaide. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort, a lot of long hours from CA, ACA guys behind the scene. A lot of sacrifices obviously also made by players in terms of being away from their family, being in hubs, being in bubbles. It's taken a lot to get to this point. So I think it's just a great credit to cricket to get to where we are right now. It's a longer season. We're in footy season. We're still playing. But it's amazing what's been done this whole year.
And just on the bonus point rules that you were kind of talking about before, did you actually prefer the rules the way they were when it was just you weren't worried about that game kind of descending into kind of draw fest?
I've always been a big believer in the best team. Look, they talked about taking out the Shield final, not having a Shield final. I love the Shield final. I think it should be there. But I think the team that comes first should have that little bit of advantage. I think you have to really considerably beat them because a team could come first by 15 points. They're clearly the best team in the competition. They should have a massive advantage. It shouldn't be even ball coming to the final. I think personally when it's not like a BBL tournament where you're playing one game at a time. It's 4 days at a time. It takes a lot to win a red ball game. So I think at the back end of the season, 10 games, it takes a lot to get there. But at the end of the day, it's the same rules for both teams this time around. So we were unfortunate not to have a Shield final last year. So obviously we're just glad to be in the final.
Did you find it unusual touching the Shield and being involved with it that closely? You wouldn't have had a chance to do so.
No, I've been close to it. I've played in one Shield final. I got dropped for my first one when all the Aussie guys came back in New South Wales. My first debut year in first class cricket. Lost against Tassie, I reckon, the second time round. And then for the last 2 Shield finals of Queensland, I've been away for Australian duty. So I've seen it plenty of times, but it's nice to play in Shield final. I said to the boys, the closest you get to Test cricket in a lot of ways is 5-day cricket. We don't get to play that much. I think it's 90 overs a day too. It's perfect. The extra 6 overs are a killer. So no, I think everyone's looking forward to it. Yeah.
Is that on that? Like you've played for a long time, but you only get a handful of chances to win one. It sort of just shows how you can't take it for granted, I guess, and how exciting it is to be in this position after.
Yeah, I mean, look at Ricky Ponting. He didn't win one until his final year. It was unbelievable. So you don't get many opportunities, but look, I love cricket. I've had a lot of great memories from cricket up to now. I'm still really enjoying the game. We're going to go out there and give it our best. I've got people from Mackay, Townsville, random people coming up to me saying good luck in the Shield, and you realise how big Queensland is. And you realise how many people still care about the Shield, especially when it comes to country towns in Queensland. So I think first and foremost, we have a lot of support here. It'd be really nice to win a Shield because to me it seems like there's a lot of people that still care about Shield, particularly in the country areas of Queensland. So it'd be really nice to give them something to smile about.
You've been on both sides of the sort of rivalry, Queensland, New South Wales, and from what you were just saying, do you think it means more to people up here to win it than people down there?
Look, Queensland's a big state. There's a lot of people living in the country areas. So is New South Wales to an extent, but I think when you first move up to Queensland, you know how much Queensland love the sport, but you don't realise how much they love the sport until you come up here. And now, I'm a Queenslander. As I say to my wife, I bleed maroon. I love it up here. It's my home. We love our sport, and we want to win, whether it's in footy, in anything, particularly cricket. And it's great to see in a world where BBL is so dominated that there's still so many people who love the Shield game. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for me.
As you touched on Jack before, he's the only change to your side coming in. Burnsy said yesterday that he's probably your most underrated player.
He is probably the first picked in our team. for that reason. He's a guy who opens the bowling for us at the moment, bowls beautifully. He locks in, nibbles the ball. He's very hard to face, and then he can bat too. I think he is probably one of the most underrated players in our side because he's, as I said, he's always really the first one picked in our side, just because of the balance he gives to the rest of the team. He allows the bowlers, 3 other bowlers, another spinner, and he can bat and bowl. Probably, not taking nothing away from Ness anyway, but everyone knows how good a player Ness is. He's been involved in the Australian team for a long time now. Jack sort of goes under the radar a little bit. So, yeah, he is a big part of the team.
He's part of the Daddy Day Club.
He is new, I think, one week old, maybe, one and a half week old, yeah. I was over his house the other day and met young Francesca. So, yeah, I think he's loving it. He's having a lot of good fun. I think I just got to tell his fiancée Sarah to look after him this week. Make sure she just takes a bit more of the load. I need a fresh Jack. I need a fresh Jack for 5 days. So we'll see how that goes.